We live in a time and age where so many of us feel lonely, feel disconnected. We feel like there isn't much of a purpose to life anymore. We feel like we're just sitting around and waiting, feeling bored all the time. And so many of us wonder, why do I feel this way? What can I do about it? How can I get out of this rut? The reason behind why so many of us feel that way is because we get rid of all connections, of all human contact in our lives. And we don't even notice it because it's so gradual. Just take a look at every element of our lives that has been digitalized. So for example, let's say renting a movie. Back in the day, renting a movie was a social activity. I remember when, as a teenager, friends and I would meet up and we would go to the movie rental place in our town and we would look at all the, the covers of the DVDs that were there. And even as a kid, there were VHSs around. We looked at the covers. We found what was interesting to us that way, and there were so many movies that we had never heard of that we couldn't look up for IMDb rating or whatever. So it was a social activity. We get discussed, hey, what do we want to rent? Maybe we talk to the clerk there. Hey, do you have any recommendations? And even after we selected a movie, oftentimes that movie was rented out and we just couldn't get it for a few days. While all of this nowadays sounds like an incredible amount of work for nothing, when you can just sit on your couch and press a button and have basically every movie that's ever been made at your fingertips, I agree. And I'm not one that's against technology whatsoever. I love the advancements that technology has brought into our lives. I love all the comfort it brings as well. But the thing is, it's making us lonely and making us feel disconnected somehow. Because all this social element that I talked about with renting a movie, and even, if the movie was rented out, that excitement of, oh, it's back again, now we can rent it, all this waiting for something and already, anticipating the joy of it. That is what makes life so much sweeter. That brings so much meaning into our life and so much happiness. And we don't really notice that we get rid of all these elements very slowly. We did so with movies. We did so with, food. We did so with basically everything now even taking taxis, meeting friends, getting help with a skill, like if you wanted to learn a new skill, you had to go to some kind of school or someone who knew that skill and could teach it to you. Now you can just do so over the internet, just like with basically everything else. We went from everything is social to everything is asocial. That leaves a mark on us. It's not surprising that it does. And we see it with our clients all the time. So many of us these days feel bored out. We don't know even what to do anymore, what to say anymore. If a person is there and comes over, we don't know what to do with them anymore. While this all sounds like the answer is getting rid of technology, that's not an answer at all, because we live in the real world and one has to be realistic. No one's ever gonna get less technology in the future than we have now. So what is the solution that I propose? I think that it's extremely important with powerful tools to use them in a conscious way. If you're using high-tech machinery it's potentially dangerous, and you're very focused and you very intentionally use it. It's the same with us. It's not social media's fault if we are the ones who use it all day. Yeah, sure, they build into the user experience tons of stuff that gets us hooked to these apps. But it's still us who decide that we want to get this social validation from others. We are looking for all these likes. I know tons of people who don't use social media at all or use it very sparingly. So it is possible. It's possible for all of us. And I believe from the bottom of my heart that we should make a conscious effort and limit our use of these apps and make a conscious effort that we get out into the real world and do as many things as possible in a social setting. Because it's just not as enjoyable to order a meal, sit at home in front of the TV and eat it by yourself. It's not as enjoyable as meeting up with friends, having fun conversation, laughing, having some drinks, sharing a good time. After you did that, you can still go home and watch whatever movie you like, and it's gonna feel 10 times better than if you had stayed home in the first place. I guarantee you that. We have to be very deliberate with how we walk through this world, this new age of computers and VR and the internet and smartphones and always being connected anywhere, in any place, at any time. You know, the term self-care is brought up so much these days. And I think one element of modern self-care in the 21st century is to make sure that we don't fuck up our brains by constantly, being on social media, looking for those likes, destroying our vacations by always taking photos of sunsets rather than watching them. We have to be very deliberate with how we use these apps and these devices. And if we are, then they can be wonderful additions to our lives, and bring so much value into our lives. But if we don't use them the right way, then we get trapped and get deeper and deeper into our comfort zones to the point where we don't even want to hang out with friends anymore. We don't want to be social anymore. We become anxious and lonely and depressed. And if that's the case for you, then it's time to take a look at how you use technology and how it's influencing your life, and make sure that you maybe roll back some of the things that you have automated and do in a solitary environment from now on, together with others, with friends, with coworkers, with family. Because that's what makes life worth living. I myself have for many years lived in an environment where I could basically do 24/7 whatever I wanted. And what I wanted was to feel comfortable. I wanted to stay up late and watch whatever I like and play whatever I like and order whatever I like. Has it made me happy? No, it made me extremely unhappy. It made me sit at home for years, crying alone at home, not knowing why I felt so shitty, why I felt so lonely and depressed. But the reason is often because we get rid of all the things that make life truly amazing and that give us purpose and joy. And some of that is social contacts with other human beings. Humans are social beings. If you get rid of the social, we starve emotionally and we feel really bad. We die on the inside, basically. So make sure you take a look at how you use these apps and devices. Realize that they're extremely powerful for the positive as well as the negative. And we are their masters and we need to decide how we apply them. Hope you enjoyed and see you around soon.